Hey everybody, welcome back to the next part of my Dialing In series, and this time I'm taking a look at one of the new to 3.0 firmware update amp models, which is the Benzin Lead. This is a model of the lead channel from the Diezel VH4 model that the fine folks at Line 6 have included with the new 3.0 firmware update. And I gotta say, at first, there wasn't necessarily one of the features I was most excited about, but the more I've used this, the more I really love it, and I really kind of have fallen in love with this. We have the Benzin Lead and the Benzin Mega, so the two different channels of that amplifier. And I gotta say, I put together a Line 6 Marketplace preset called the Benzin Ultimate, which is both amps with a full array of effects, 4 snapshots going from like a slightly overdriven up to a full-blown steering lead. This is going to be one snapshot of that particular preset without all the effects and everything, but just to let you kind of get a sample of it. And this will be free up on CustomTone. If you like this and want kind of a more full-featured preset, you can go to Marketplace at the link in the description below and grab the Benzin Ultimate preset, which I'm really happy with. And I'll let you hear an example of it in the mix later on in this video. But for now, let's take a look at how I came up with this sound. And here we are at HX Edit. What I've done is I have started off like normal. I have my little mastering compressor at the end for a little bit of squish and glue that I like in all my presets. Pretty typical settings for me. Studio comp at 5.5 on the peak reduction, 5 on the gain, 100% on the mix. On this one, I actually did a little bit of sculpting EQ. I have my low cuts at 100 Hertz, high cut at 10 kilohertz. But on the low frequency, I went to 180 Hertz with a Q of 1.4, gave it a little gentle boost around 2 dB. I took the mid frequencies at 390 Hertz with a Q of 1.4 and I pulled those back 2 dB. And I went up to 5.6 kilohertz with the same Q of 1.4 and I boosted it just a gentle 1 dB, just kind of shaping the sound a little bit. And I liked what that did to it to help it sit in the mix. All right, from there, I went and added a plate reverb with a decay of 5, a pre-delay of 90 milliseconds, low cut of 100, high cut of 2.5 gigahertz, and a mix of 30%. I also added a vintage digital delay. Not a delay I usually use, but I found it really suited this. And I set it on the 8-bit setting, note sync of a quarter note, feedback of 36%, sample rate all the way down to 8 kilohertz for a real kind of lo-fi type sound, which I liked for this. Mix at 38%. Rate on the modulation 0.2 Hertz, depth at 2, and the scale at 100% with the trails on. I also used a high and low shelf like I oftentimes do. Low frequency and high frequency both set at 650 Hertz, plus 3 dB on all the frequencies above 650, and minus 3 dB on all the frequencies below 650. So that's what I had. Now, as far as the cab goes, I didn't stick with the stock cab that sort of just pops up when we choose the amp model. I went with a 412 Uber V30, and after just kind of trying some different cabs with this model, this is the one I settled on liking the most. But with a 4038 ribbon mic, 5 inches back, and I took the low and high cuts off here because I already put them in my EQ at the end. And here are the settings I had on the Benzin Lead. Drive was 6.8, bass was 4.1, mids were 6.1, treble at 8.5, presence at 10, channel volume was at 9.7 just to get the output I wanted, master at 5, deep control on 4.2, sag 3.5, ripple bias, bias X all at 5. Okay, so let's do this. Let's turn off the compressor, the EQ, the reverb, the delay, and the shelf EQ. And this is what this model sounded like, just with these settings in that particular cab with the 4038 ribbon mic. As is to be expected with the 4038 ribbon mic, even when you pull it back, it's a pretty beefy, big, fat sound. Okay, so what I did partially to rectify that is I brought my shelf EQ in here like I mentioned before, and I brought all the frequencies below 650 down by 3 dB, boosted the frequencies above that by 3 dB, and that kind of shapes the sound nicely. So here it is again without that. With it. Depending on what you're doing with it in the mix, you could even change these so you go just like maybe a couple dB above and below. But I actually ended up settling on the plus and minus 3 on both of those, just because it worked well in the mixes that I was using it with. All right, now I'll bring my compressor in at the end just to add a little bit of that glue I like. All right, I'm gonna bring this EQ in at the end with these subtle changes I made. So again, without it, with it, I was really liking it with that addition. Adding the reverb and the plate reverb really brought it to life. Of course, if you found that too much, you can change your decay or your mix to whatever suits your ideals or your mix that you're working on. And then ultimately, the vintage delay coming in kind of rounded this out nice and gave that nice lo-fi delay. So that's ultimately what it ended up sounding like, and I was really happy with that. So now I want to let you hear just a snippet of the demo video song that I came up with for my Line 6 Marketplace DAS Benzin Ultimate preset, which is, like I mentioned before, a 4-snapshot preset that varies in gain levels with a full array of effects as well included in that, and this is what it sounded like in the mix. So what do you guys think? That's the full-blown package for this preset using both the Lead and the Mega models. And I gotta say, this is a great amp model that we were given by the folks at Line 6, and so many options with it. This is how I chose to set it up, and I like the way it came out and worked well for me. So this will be available on the Line 6 Marketplace, absolutely free of charge, and I'll have my for pay preset, the Ultimate preset that uses both the DAS Benzin models, and that's up on the Line 6 Marketplace right now. And actually, either at the time of posting this or very soon, it will also be available, sort of a stripped down version for HX Stomp as well, a 3-snapshot version with a few less effects and whatnot. But since we only have the 8 blocks now. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed that and maybe get some use out of this preset. Like I said, check for the link below. It'll be available on CustomTone when this posts, and grab that and enjoy. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would get a kick out of seeing it or enjoy the presets. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification for when I put new content out, and I'll be back really soon with some more content. Thanks again for your time, everyone. Ciao for now.